Hi, I'm Jacob Hornberger, Libertarian candidate for president in 2024. Well, Republicans continue to pounce on potential Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis for his views on Ukraine. They're criticizing him for not being a big enough interventionist on Ukraine. The latest person to pounce is former Vice President Mike Pence, who says that this war is all about freedom. In fact, it's what they're all saying, Biden too. What nonsense. This war is about NATO, not freedom. Ukrainian President Zelensky wants Ukraine to be a member of NATO. Now, ask yourself, why would the president of one of the most crooked and corrupt regimes in the world sacrifice hundreds of thousands of his troops and citizens, the entire destruction of his country, for the right of his government to join NATO? What would motivate any president to do such a thing? What is NATO? It's just an old Cold War dinosaur. It was part of the old Cold War racket that was used to justify the existence and ever-growing largesse of the military-industrial complex and the intelligence community. Now that their war on terrorism is fizzling because their war machine, their killing machine, is not killing as many people in the Middle East as it was before, they've now ginned up this new Cold War crisis against their old Cold War enemy, Russia. What happened is that NATO began moving eastward after the ostensible end of the Cold War, began absorbing former members of the Warsaw Pact, moving inexorably eastward over Russia's continuous objections. It would be the same thing that the Americans would say if the Russians were putting their bases and missiles in Cuba. And the red line was Ukraine. They always knew that Russia was going to invade Ukraine if they threatened to absorb Ukraine. In fact, they did this back in 1979 when they incited and provoked Russia into invading Afghanistan. And they admitted to that one. They confessed to it. They said that their goal was to give Russia its own Vietnam. And what they were alluding to was the sacrifice, needless sacrifice, of tens of thousands of Russian troops, just as the Pentagon had sacrificed some 58,000 plus of my generation for absolutely no good reason in Vietnam. Anybody who cares about their country and their family and themselves, the best thing that y'all could ever do is just get rid of all these people, Democrats and Republicans, and replace them with nothing but libertarians in the presidency and Congress. That would be the best thing people could ever do to get this country back on the right road, especially since they're getting inexorably closer to life-destroying, earth-destroying nuclear war in this crisis in Ukraine. Let us libertarians put this nation back on the right road, the road to freedom, peace, prosperity, and harmony with the people of the world. I'm Jacob Hornberger, Libertarian candidate for president in 2024. My campaign website is jacobforliberty.com.